Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick video. A really good friend of mine, Veronica, had taken me in a post on my Facebook page from one of my complex regional pain syndrome groups that I'm a part of. And to me, this is probably one of the most profound things I've ever seen about my disease and it being a chronic illness, because it is considered a chronic illness. Now, as you all know, I went through all of this with my back. First initially getting the pump in. Now, I've had complex regional pain syndrome for 4 years. So up to the pump, it was some spinal injections that never did anything that they're now saying are really dangerous. And then it's been medications. So I went through this whole thing with this pump in the hopes that I would not have to take medications like I am, and in the hopes that it would maybe give me some better quality of life, because it was supposed to do a job. And so I go through all of this stuff, and you know this is, I think, the most frustrating part for people like myself. Family members, friends, they have absolutely no clue what it's like to have this disease, and they don't seem to grasp the concept that this is never going to go away. This is it for me. This is the rest of my life. There's not going to be some magic pill that I'm going to take that's going to make me all better, or a surgery that's going to fix me. So when I read this, I wanted to share it with you all, because the whole reason I'm making these videos is kind of a twofold thing. One is because I want to spread my awareness of complex regional pain syndrome, and I want people to see what it's like to have somebody with this disease talk about it, and talk about struggles and days that are bad and weeks that are bad, and all of the stuff that we as patients go through just to feel some slight bit of what our life used to be before this. So I go through all of this with my back. And it got really scary. That pain pump thing, when you're when your doctor tells you that there's a really good chance you could potentially slip into a coma because the fluid in your brain is starting to lessen every day because of the giant hole in your spine, kind of gives you a whole different perspective of things. And the pain that I was in throughout that 4-week time period, I can't even explain it, because the headaches and the spinal throbbing was horrific. And then the fear that you feel during it, because nothing was working. Nothing was stopping this from happening, and I was getting worse every day. And I spent 4 weeks laying on my back on the couch or in bed, and I lost that month of my life in a sense, because I couldn't even exist. There was nothing I could do. I struggled to go to the bathroom. And then there was, things going on with nerves, and it was wreaking havoc on my body, that I couldn't just go to the bathroom. I had to actually concentrate on peeing. Like, not to be graphic, but that's the truth, because I was having urinary retention, as they thought, but it probably was more from the nerves that were damaged in my lower spine. And usually when you have a herniated disc, for instance, the first thing they ask you is if you lost control of your bladder function or your bowels. Well, I lost control. I wasn't normal there either, and I wasn't eating, and I lost a bunch of weight. And yay, I lost weight, but no, it wasn't a good thing. I've been working really hard since January on losing weight, and I'm down almost 50 pounds. So it's kind of a big deal, but that's not the point of this. So, I went through all of this, and the pain and the fear that Eric was feeling that entire time, and the helplessness he was feeling, because there was nothing he could do to help me. And he was watching this happen, and then to hear that there's a potential I could slip into a coma and I could die, those are really scary words coming from a doctor after an MRI. And then I had it taken out, and family members and friends, they just assumed I was going to get better now and I should be fine because now my back is fixed and that thing is out of me. My own mother, during that time, told me I had a different disease and that it's not that big of a deal, and told me how stupid I was for even putting it in the first place. Like, that was the dumbest thing I could have ever done in my life. And, other family members didn't even care that this was going on. They didn't call to check on me, see how I was doing. Nothing. I got nothing from family, and very few friends cared at all. I mean, Veronica was my biggest ally through this whole thing because she also has the disease too. She has CRPS in her foot like I do. And she was scared for me because she knew as a nurse before she got CRPS and couldn't work anymore, she was a nurse. So she knew when I was saying things, she knew exactly what was going on in ways that like other people couldn't, not only because she's living through it herself, but her medical knowledge. So I wanted to share this with you, and like I said, this is the most profound thing I've ever read on one of these pages. So here goes. It says, "No, I will not get better soon. Yes, I am sick. No, I don't have the flu. I have what's called a chronic illness. It affects every part of my body from my thought process down to my skin. There is no cure. This is forever." That's what chronic means. This is a lifelong illness. I will suffer with pain, discomfort, and among other things, I will suffer from the stares of the public, judgment from family members, rudeness and abandonment from my, quote, friends, and the hardest part, my relationships with the ones I love the most will take the hard hits. But this doesn't mean my life is over. It means I am living in a different way. I am struggling, but I am fighting with everything I have. Some days, sadly, I will lose, and others I will shout victory. This is not over. It has just begun. So when I got comments after this whole thing went down, and I was hearing people tell me that I should be better now that I have this thing out, and I should be able to move on with my life and just forget about the whole thing and how it ever happened and just don't ever repeat that mistake again. But see, that's what people don't understand, is what they consider a mistake was me desperately trying to get help for my pain. When your own mother doesn't even know the disease you have, doesn't care to take the time to even research it a little bit, and is telling me how I am so stupid for doing this, and telling me how I should be fine now, and if I just lost weight and I exercised more, I'd be great. And I think that's one of the hardest blows for me right now is that. Number one, no one takes the time to even research what I have. No one understands it, and no one cares to understand it. But these are people that are supposed to love me. And then to get comments like, if you lost weight and you exercised more, you probably would feel a whole lot better. Well, let me tell you that exercising creates more pain. And since I've lost weight like everybody thought I should do because it's going to make me feel better, and that's not why I did it. I did it for my own personal need to feel better about myself. But anyway, losing the weight has actually created more pain because when I was heavier, I didn't have as much pressure on like my joints and stuff because there was kind of that fat cushion there, and now it's gone, and now my pain has increased from the weight loss. And I try to be as active as I can. Like, let me tell you now, okay, yesterday on my Apple Watch that tracks all my movement and walking steps and my supposed calorie burning, whatever happens in my body. I had over 900 calories burned. I had 25 minutes of exercise measured out, and I stood for a total of 17 hours yesterday, according to the watch. Now, I know it's not accurate, and it's not something to base your whole life on, or whatever you want to call it. But for somebody with a pain disease in their feet who is now recovering from major back surgery, and I have muscles that weren't used for a month that now hurt so bad that some days I literally can't even roll over in bed. And, it's really frustrating for me that those snide little comments come out like, well, you should be better. You should feel fine. This was supposed to, help you and make you better. I'm never going to be better. No one with this disease is ever going to be better. It only gets worse. There is no taking steps back with this. It goes and it keeps going and it doesn't stop. And that, I think, is one of the hardest things for people to understand. And when it says stares from people in public, I have a handicap tag. I park in handicap parking because I can't walk from the back of a parking lot to the store without having really bad pain, because obviously shoes, pressure on my feet, that's the main target of this disease. So it's really frustrating as a person with this disease to not get angry with the people around you. There is absolutely no sympathy for my cause here, and I'm not looking for sympathy. But it'd be really nice if once in a while somebody said to me, I can't imagine what you're going through. You are so strong, and you are such a fighter, and you are trying your damnedest to live as much of a normal life as you can. But I don't even get any recognition on that end either. I mean, I'm told I'm not doing enough most of the time. Because I can't work, I'm not doing enough. I should be working full time and balancing being a mom and balancing having this disease, and I should never complain about being in pain because it's really not that bad. Or my favorite one is when people try to say, oh yeah, my knees really hurting sometimes, or yeah, well, I pulled something in my back and oh, it hurts. I totally understand how you feel. No, you don't. No, you don't. Don't pretend to know how I feel when you don't even realize that you know nothing about what I have. Until you can tell me factual information about what disease I have and what this does to me, then you can come at me with suggestions on how I need to live my life differently, and how I need to do things differently, and how I need to go to work full time and sit or stand all day long when I can't even stand in my own damn house for more than 10 minutes at a time without being in really horrific pain. And this is one of these subjects where the people that I love the most, except for Eric, obviously, but the people that are supposed to love me too, or the people that are supposed to care about me, they don't. And it has actually broken up relationships on my end with family. My mom is right now, I'm taking a hiatus from her because I just cannot listen to her griping at me about what I'm doing wrong in my life and how I'm not doing what I need to be doing. And if I just did this, I would be better. Woman, you couldn't even tell me what disease I had, let alone start giving me advice on how I need to live my life differently, because you don't even know what I have. So don't come at me with suggestions and tell me what I'm doing wrong in my life. You don't even understand what I'm going through or even care to research what your own daughter has. So that's the drawback, I think, is the hardest part of all of this, is because you become very isolated because you're so sick of hearing from people how they can either relate to what you're going through and they compare it with something totally stupid, like, oh yeah, I was having terrible headaches one time. Oh, I thought I really, seriously, I felt like I was going to die. I totally get what you're going through. Nobody knows what that's like until they actually go through it. Nobody can tell me that I need to do things differently with my life, my care, and the choices I make on a daily basis until they can physically feel the pain that I feel every moment of my life. Sitting here right now making this video, my foot is on fire. It feels like my skin is tearing off my foot. My bones feel like they're broken right now in my left foot. My right foot is burning, and the bottom of my foot feels like it's tearing every step I take on my right foot today. So that was today with my right foot. My back hurts terribly as I'm sitting here talking to you. It's a pain that I can't explain. It hurts in my spine, and the muscles all around my spine hurt every moment of every day. And I actually went to the doctor, my surgeon, the other day, and basically he told me, well, it's going to take time. There's nothing we can do. So you're going to have to kind of suck this one up. So that's what I have to do. Many, many days of my life, I have to suck up pain so that I can take care of my family the way that I can take care of my family. This house doesn't clean itself. The laundry doesn't wash itself. The dishes in the dishwasher don't put themselves away magically unless Eric's done it. Dinner doesn't get made by me wishing it would be made. These things that I have to do, Aiden doesn't get taken care of because he's a self-sufficient 2-year-old that doesn't need me to do anything, and he basically is a 30-year-old trapped in a 2-year-old body. So that, I think, is where this whole thing, why I felt this was something I needed to share. Because if I could freaking tattoo this on me somewhere, and next time I got some stupid comment or some glare at the grocery store because I parked in the handicap and I don't look like I'm handicapped, then I would just show them this and be like, peace out. This to me says everything. And, like I said, the whole reason that I started doing these videos is because I wanted to spread awareness about this disease. And they said there was a twofold thing. The second is, this is kind of like a video diary for me. This is my opportunity to just get things off my chest, talk about what's happening, because I can only tell Eric so many times I hurt. I can only complain to Eric so many times that I'm having a bad day. He has bad days. This weight is bared by him too. He works 2 jobs, full-time job during the week, and on Saturdays and Fridays he does DJing for weddings because it's extra money brought into this house because my disability doesn't cover anything. Literally, I may get a trip to Walmart and a little bit at the grocery store, and I'm pretty much tapped. That bearing waiting, that's weight on him that shouldn't have to be. And unfortunately, he has now become this, sole breadwinner for our house and works his rear end off to cover everything. And, that's not something that he signed up for. When we got married, we had no idea this was going to happen. I had no idea. And here I am 4 years later, and I am worse than I've ever been. I'm either in the most awful flare of my time with this disease, or this is the new disease. I don't know if this is ever going to go away. I know it can only get worse from here, but quit trying to tell me how to live my life differently. Quit giving me advice on how I need to do this or this or this, and I'll feel better. And quit assuming because I had yet another surgery that I'm all better. It cured me. It made me normal again. Because that's not the case. And there are times when I hear comments like that and I literally want to punch somebody, but that's not who I am, so I don't. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Thanks for listening to my rant on this. But if you know somebody that has chronic pain, and you know somebody that has any kind of chronic illness, it doesn't even have to be pain, please, please don't assume that they can get better, because 99% of the time they're not going to get better. Hence, chronic illness. They don't wake up one morning and feel better. They don't wake up one morning and it's gone, because that's not what it is. I'm sure they wake up in the morning and feel worse than they did the day before. And they have to put on a brave face, and they have to pretend they're stronger than they are. And they have to pretend that what they're feeling isn't all consuming. Because if, for instance, myself, if I focused on the pain every moment of the day and I didn't push through and force myself to do things, I probably would literally crawl up in a ball and cry every moment in my bed in the dark, and it would probably lead to me killing myself. But that's not the person I am. My dad committed suicide. I know how awful that is to the people you leave behind. I would never do that to my children or Eric. But don't assume I'm better. Don't assume somebody's better because something happened. Instead, why don't be more compassionate? You know, be more understanding. Do some research on what they have. Because you know what that will do for that person? It will make them feel like they matter, that you actually care, and you actually love them, because you took the time to understand what they have and what they're going through. You may never understand what they're actually going through, but just knowing that you took the time to do that is so huge, and the appreciation would be enormous. So, on that note, I hope you guys all have a great week coming up here. I do have a video that I'm going to make too. Crazy stuff happened to me today with my incision, and it was part of the doctor visit, so I'm not going to talk about it now. I'll talk about it in a video, but yeah, freaked me out. So I hope you guys have a good week, and I'll come at you soon with that video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'm now going to start making more. All right. Night, guys.